upon you. Today's discussion is not merely a superficial commentary. Rather, it is a tale that encompasses the roots of relationships, the cost of sacrifices, the complexities of politics, and the deep strategies of war. This story moves along paths where every character raises a question through their very existence, and every scene becomes the warning sign of an approaching great storm. There is much here that appears silent on the surface, yet within that silence lie unspoken screams. These are moments that pass before the eyes, but their echo lingers in the heart and mind for a long time. Somewhere along the way, a feeling arises that perhaps the creators of this story are listening to the heartbeat of the audience. The questions that were raised earlier now begin to appear in the form of answers. One question that existed in every mind: despite being bound by blood relations, why were two such characters shown so distant from one another, and then suddenly that silence breaks? A scene unfolds where the brother and sister stand face to face. This is not merely a meeting, rather the burden of years of separation, suppressed emotions and unspoken words is compressed into a single moment. Recognition shines in their eyes, affection is reflected in their tone, and silence takes the place of words that cannot be spoken. This scene is so powerful that it blurs all the shortcomings of the past. Alongside this, a clear transformation is felt in the personality of another important character. The layers of harshness, cruelty, and negative behavior that had long settled on his face now appear to be slowly peeling away. His gentle attitude toward those who sacrifice for the state or the tribe proves that his decisions are not personal but based on principles. However, the moment someone deviates from those principles, his severity returns with full force, sitting beside sleeping children, speaking to them in a soft voice. All of this is a sign that humanity and tenderness have not yet completely died within his heart. But here another deep question is born. What happened in the past that caused these very innocent children to once drift away from him? This question still demands an answer, and to give the story greater depth, unveiling that dark aspect seems inevitable. The dialogues of that character are particularly attention-grabbing. His words point clearly toward the importance of time, the need for preparation, and the dangers that lie ahead. The story does not remain merely emotional. It reaches an intellectual level. A clear message is delivered. Greatness is not achieved in a single night. These were not people who suddenly became heroes. Rather, they were forged like iron, passed through every trial of patience, and reached this position through continuous effort. It is also made clear that the enemy never waits. Whoever is not prepared today may lose everything tomorrow. Viewers, the true strength of this story lies in its historical foundation. This is not just a tale of love and emotions, but a reflection of the life of a leader whose decisions changed the fate of coming generations. His personal life, his relationship with his children, the sacrifices made for the state, and his political foresight, all of these are elements that deserve deep attention. Unfortunately, when emotional and romantic scenes exceed their limits, the true historical message becomes suppressed somewhere along the way. Viewers often become entangled in side stories and fail to fully grasp the importance of the real events. There is also a particular scene that reveals the very soul of this entire story. Ancient military strategy is shown not through words but through action. The symbols of black and white stones, the identification of enemy and ally, and the inclusion of a new tactic. Seeing all this, it feels as if history itself has stepped onto the battlefield. This was the very strategy through which great victories were achieved despite limited numbers. However, it is also true that presenting such an important moment with such simplicity reduced its overall impact. When historical events are presented with weight and beauty, they leave a deep impression on the heart. Otherwise, they remain merely ordinary scenes. The element of alliance is also included in the story, which is undoubtedly an important turning point. But alliance should never mean that the fire of enmity is completely extinguished. If that happens, the story's appeal will diminish, because these characters are not merely fictional but are connected to history, even if their names and circumstances have been altered. Another issue that repeatedly emerges is the limited portrayal of the enemy's strength. Each time, scenes of arson, murder, and abduction are shown, whereas in real history the enemy's true power is revealed through political maneuvers, internal conflicts, and economic weaknesses. If these aspects were also depicted, the story could have been far stronger and closer to reality. When it comes to female characters, a clear contrast is visible here as well. One character emerges as a symbol of innocence and gentleness, while the other is stern and stubborn. In such circumstances, introducing a new love story not only feels unnecessary, but also disrupts the balance of the narrative, especially when several emotional relationships are already in motion. From an acting perspective, it also becomes evident that some characters have been burdened beyond their capacity. As a result, in certain scenes, the performances feel artificial rather than natural, which does not suit a serious historical drama. Overall, the direction is commendable. The actors are guided in a simple and clear manner regarding the emotional state of each scene, which brings continuity to their performances. A good director is one who provides actors with the correct understanding of emotions. And this quality is clearly evident here. However, some editing decisions disrupt the emotional flow of the story. Inserting a joyful scene suddenly in the midst of an extremely serious and dangerous moment diminishes the intensity of that moment. In the end, viewers, it would not be wrong to say that despite some flaws, this story remains strong overall. The audience's attention stayed intact, the conflicts of the characters were clearly presented, and many important questions were left open for the future. It is widely believed that if strong names like Omar Atay as assistant director and Nihat Shahin in the writing team were brought in, the quality of the series could rise again. Otherwise, continued loss of quality and weakened characters may push viewers even further away. At this point, it is also worth remembering that some members of the Ottoman dynasty have strongly criticized the series. Shehzade Orhan Osmanoğlu's description of the show as a major mistake highlights the depth of historical controversy surrounding it. Finally, dear viewers, let me say this. A major project like Kurulus Orhan can regain its former strength if it is handled by the right people with the right approach. However, this clearly requires serious renewal in production, writing, and management. Yes, dear viewers, that concludes today's analysis. Please be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis. Take care.